Slack is a new way to communicate with your team. Messaging that's faster, better organized, and more secure. Conversations happen in channels that are easy to create, join, and search. Try it for free at slack.com. Slack, where work happens.
Some call it insight. Others call it vision. At Pershing, we call it perspective. A perspective you'll benefit from a custodian you can rely on. One who can help navigate the big picture, and whose products give you a competitive edge. One who considers everything. What will help you succeed today and tomorrow? Open yourself to a new perspective and open the possibilities. Consider everything. BNY Mellon Pershing. Learn more at Pershing.com/RIA. Pershing Advisor Solutions, LLC, member FINRA SIPC.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. By now, I'm sure everybody is familiar with Maria Farmer's story. I'm sure everybody has heard what she has had to say about Eileen Guggenheim and the New York Academy of Art. Well, the New York Academy of Art, they decided that they were going to initiate an investigation into the claims made by Maria. They did their one-sided investigation without reaching out to Maria, without reaching out to Maria's lawyers, and basically wrote a hit piece and covered it up as some sort of report by an independent law firm. And when it all broke out, I was quick to tell you that it was a nonsensical report. It was all one-way traffic. And how can you have an all-encompassing report if you're only speaking to one side of the people involved in the story? And it was never the sort of report that anybody was going to take serious. In fact, it was met with great blowback by many people. Well, fast forward to a couple of days ago, and the New York Academy of Art has issued an apology to Maria Farmer for their nonsensical report. And to be honest with you, it doesn't go far enough, in my opinion. Their attempt to demean Maria, their attempt to destroy Maria's credibility, is an unforgivable act. And while their apology is a step in the right direction, the real fix here and the real show of support towards the survivors would be the removal of Eileen Guggenheim. That is what needs to occur. Not a canned apology. Not a, oh, well, this is a reason why we did this. There is only one way to begin the process of truly showing that the New York Academy of Art is willing to change and willing to listen to the survivors about what occurred when the New York Academy of Art and Eileen Guggenheim introduced Maria to the disgusting monster Jeffrey Epstein. Now, them taking responsibility here is a start. But until Eileen Guggenheim is removed and knocked from her perch, then it's just words. So I would really like to see the New York Academy of Art take the next step here and push Eileen Guggenheim out the door. There are plenty of other people who are capable of doing that job sitting in that seat. There is no need to keep this lady who is accused of facilitating Maria's abuse in the position that she is already in. In fact, it's unacceptable. Today, our article is from ArtNet News. The author is Rachel Corbett. Headline: After trustees resign and students voice shame, the New York Academy of Art issues a profound apology to Epstein accuser Maria Farmer. And again, while I think it's a good start, and Maria most certainly deserves an apology from these people, I don't think that the pressure should be let up until Eileen Guggenheim is out the door. The New York Academy of Art has been in turmoil since its alumna, Maria Farmer, A Jeffrey Epstein survivor accused the school of enabling the late sex offender's abuse. In response, the academy hired a law firm to investigate Farmer's claims. But instead of helping to close the book on this issue, as Academy President David Kratz had said he hoped when it was first released, aspects of the investigation have been characterized by students and alumni as victim-blaming and biased, only adding fuel to the fire. And I'd like to give a shout out to the students at the Academy who have stepped up and taken up the baton and the challenge to force change within their school. At the end of the day, these are the students that are paying the money. These are the students that are on the hook for all of the loot. So they should be listened to. These students should not be ignored. And what occurred at this place while Maria Farmer was there should never, ever have happened. You send your children to a place like this, you go to a place like this, you expect that the facilitators and the people at the school, teachers, professors, etc., are there as allies, people to help you along your journey to success. You're not supposed to be pieced off to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell by the dean. It is absolutely reprehensible. And I am happy that the current students are standing up here and telling this academy that what they did was absolutely disgusting. And doubling down on it with this shitty-ass report is unacceptable. On July 30th, 3 members of the academy's board, Ippolita Rostagno, Alina Lundry, and Valerie Cooper, resigned en masse. 2 weeks earlier, the actress Naomi Watts also resigned from the board. Their decisions were a result of the school's handling of Farmer's allegations, according to an alum who has knowledge of the situation and asked to remain anonymous. The former board members cannot be reached for comment, and I think their actions say everything, right? When you have this many board members giving up their board seat and walking out of a boardroom, you know that shit is bad at this institution. And I really would like to hear one or all of these board members go on record and talk about what drove them to leaving the board. I mean, you know, the whole entire behind the scenes conversation would be very, very interesting to have a line on. The remaining board members did not comment on the resignations, but the executive committee issued a profound apology yesterday to Farmer and other alumni who are upset and angry with its response, according to a letter it wrote to alumni. The board is also making a $30,000 donation, the amount Epstein gave in scholarship support to the Academy in 2014, to a charity for victims of sexual assault. All right, full stop. First of all, $30,000. I think you should up that a little bit. Second of all, instead of giving it to a charity, I think you should give it directly to Maria Farmer for her battle against cancer that you people helped facilitate. How about that? How about you give it directly to Maria, send her a check, whatever it may be, because you people have caused grievous harm to Maria Farmer. And it is not the sort of harm that just goes away. It's something she has had to live with for her whole entire life. And it's all because Eileen Guggenheim facilitated her abuse with Jeffrey Epstein. And that's just that is when you get down to the very bare bones of what's going on in this story. That is exactly where we're at, okay? That's what needs to be remembered. And a pittance of $30,000 to an unnamed charity is not enough. All right? Why don't we triple that, quadruple that, and deposit it just directly in Maria's bank account? That's what you idiots should be doing. Farmer has previously told Art News that Eileen Guggenheim, who is chair of the Academy's board, introduced her to Epstein and his alleged co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell at her thesis show in 1995 and encouraged her to sell them her work at a discounted price because of the financial support Epstein had offered to the Academy. Epstein served on the school's board from 1987 to 1994. And just to backtrack real quick, he made the $30,000 donation in 2014, folks. That is after his conviction for the disgusting crimes that he was convicted for. And they still accepted his money. They still had him around the property. So excuse me if I don't think their $30,000 and their hollowed apology are enough. The following summer, Farmer said that Guggenheim invited her and other alumni on an uncomfortable visit to Epstein's ranch in New Mexico. Guggenheim initially denied that either encounter took place, but later admitted to visiting the ranch after another former student approached Art News to corroborate Farmer's story. Guggenheim maintains that she never introduced Farmer to Epstein at the thesis show, nor was she involved in the sale of her work. So she's already proven a liar here, right? Oh, I was never in New Mexico at Jeffrey Epstein. Liar. Oh, I was never involved in making her sell artwork. Liar. All right, so Guggenheim, like the rest of them, has started off telling us lies. So how are we supposed to believe anything else this smarmy-ass woman has to say if she has already been caught in 2 lies, folks? Meanwhile, Maria's over here dropping truth bombs like we're in the middle of Dresden during World War II. The carpet bombing continues, and as each day passes, as each week passes, and more information starts pouring out, it is obvious that Maria Farmer is ironclad, and her account of what occurred is truth. The law firm's investigation concluded that Farmer's story contained discrepancies and that Guggenheim should be exonerated. As a result, the board issued a unanimous vote of confidence in Guggenheim's leadership several weeks before the resignations. So it was unanimous, and then a few weeks later, the resignations occurred. So there must have been something that went on between those 2 time periods. After the report's completion, however, many students and alumni were dismayed with what they perceived as a biased and sexist language in the report, while some former trustees felt uncomfortable with its contents and reception, the sources said. The Academy initially stated that the board commissioned the report, but sources said that some trustees were not even aware of it until after its findings were delivered. This sounds like a Guggenheim move if I've ever seen one. Was she finessing the board, trying to get this report out to clear her name because she understands the stakes and understands what's coming down the pike eventually? Could be. But the fact that the board members decided after the report came out that they were going to resign en masse is not a good look for the Academy and certainly not a good look for Guggenheim. Asked about the discrepancy, the Academy clarified that the school and its president, David Kratz, commissioned the investigation. Again, I don't have any evidence to prove this, right? But I am sure that Guggenheim had her dirty-ass hands all over this. The faux Guggenheim was most assuredly involved in getting this report out there. An open letter signed by 96 current students and alumni aims to make known our shame to be associated with the actions of NYAA leadership and their legal team, the letter says. The letter says its signatories were reviewed by ArtNet News, but its authors declined to release the names publicly. The school declined to provide the letter's signatories with the full 30-page report, so their letter is based off the law firm's 5-page summary as well as related press coverage. And that's what they always do, right? These sort of reports are always kept close to the vest. They'll release the summary, but they never release the whole report. And then they act like they're being transparent and like nobody should question them. Well, you dirty sons of bitches. Guggenheim, your dean, your board member, your lovey love, facilitated the abuse of Maria Farmer. Point blank, period. Now it is up to you to completely and utterly clean up your organization. Canned statements and measly 30,000 donations to unnamed charities will not do the trick. The letter notes the potential conflict of interest in the fact that the law firm commissioned to conduct the investigation previously represented Guggenheim following the release of a petition calling for her ouster this spring. It also criticizes the report's suggestion that Maria Farmer was responsible for the abuse that her younger sister, Annie Farmer, also endured at the hands of Epstein. The report claimed that Maria ignored red flags in Epstein's behavior, which would have suggested to a reasonable person that introducing her 15-year-old sister to Epstein might end badly. The letter calls this a double standard that could have just as easily applied to Guggenheim. And when this came out, I was apoplectic because, as everybody knows, I consider Maria a friend at this point. She's not just some unnamed person who has her name in the news or, someone you see on TV. This is somebody who has become a friend of mine, somebody I speak with pretty much on a regular basis, and somebody who is engaged in the battle for her life right now. And the fact that these scumbags at this academy had the audacity to even run that report makes me so mad and makes me want to just, there's not even words to explain how aggravating and how disappointing it was when this report was first released, especially knowing that Maria was bringing the truth. This survivor-blaming rhetoric exemplifies an alarming dissonance with the cultural moment, the letter reads. Its authors add, "To our knowledge, Farmer has taken no legal action against the school or Guggenheim. Nevertheless, the NYAA Board of Trustees commissioned a purportedly independent investigation of Farmer's assertions. In a letter to the press, the board explained that the NYAA took measures to investigate Maria Farmer's allegations in order to assess whether they necessitated further action. Unfortunately, the summary of this investigation seems to indicate a singular focus on discrediting Farmer's testimony rather than delving into Epstein's involvement with the NYAA's board, his long-time financial ties to the school, or his personal relationship to Guggenheim." And that is what they all try and do. They all try and distance themselves from Epstein and Maxwell while at the same time painting the survivors like they're liars. And we see it from all of these big-ass organizations, and inevitably, every single time they try it, it's proved that they are lying and that their assertions are false. And this is another reason why I am so adamant that the survivors are telling the truth. Every single time they bring something up, every single time they bring something to light or corroborate something, you see the unhinged response of the people who are being accused. Normal people, when they're accused, have a measured response to things like this and challenge it head on without being a vile dick. But these people, they only have one reaction, and that's to discredit their victims. And basically that's what these people are. All of these schools, these universities, all of these people that were involved with Jeffrey Epstein, that facilitated his abuse, are the first ones to get stupid in these letters and try and trash the survivors. And that is a big tell for me, folks. The letter went on to urge the Academy to add alumni positions to the board as a way to implement increased transparency, student safety, and a bridge between those who make decisions and those affected by them. Yes, independent oversight is a must everywhere in our government and otherwise. We can't trust these institutions to safeguard our children. We can't trust these institutions to safeguard our loved ones. They are not trustworthy places, and they have proven that time and time again. It also asked the Academy to more broadly reconsider the nature of the relationship between students and donors. Echoing Farmer's complaint, aka corroborating what Maria already has said, that she felt pressure to ingratiate herself to Epstein, the signatories say that they too have felt instrumentalized in the school's fundraising efforts, feeling compelled, for example, to produce work for collectors at the Tribeca Ball fundraiser when they could have devoted that time to their thesis projects. So we see the pattern has still continued since the 90s, where they exploit their students for their own gain, even when their own students would rather be spending their time on their thesis. This is what this academy is all about. This is what they have always been about, and it's about time that the curtain gets opened on them and the world sees the scumbaggery that occurs in places such as this. At the crux of the school's fundraising efforts is a reliance on students, faculty, and administration to ingratiate themselves to board members, collectors, and donors, the letter says. An attitude that puts undue pressure on students to perform in precarious or predatory situations. And that's for sure. Imagine being one of these art students and being pressed by your dean to sell your art at a super discounted price to people like Epstein and Maxwell because it benefits the art academy. It should be the other way around. The academy should be there to help these students with their career. Isn't that what these kids are paying for? These people paying for? But instead, they're exploited for the benefit of people like Faux Guggenheim. Yesterday, the board's executive committee responded with a letter of its own, acknowledging the negative impact of the investigation. Some of the conclusions in the resulting report blamed Miss Farmer, and we regret they were included, the letter reads. We will direct our law firm to strike from the final report any conclusion that could be perceived as victim blaming. Well, that's all fine and well, but why did it take an outcry from your alumni and from the general public at large to make you do this? This should have been a decision that was made on your own. You shouldn't have to be dog-walked into doing the right thing when you're one of these elite academies. You should just do the right thing. How hard is it to be a decent human and do the right thing and not abuse children? I mean, life's pretty easy, right? Wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, put on deodorant, go to work or school, whatever it may be, and don't abuse children. And probably stay off of meth. But those are pretty easy, things to do in life, to lead a pretty respectable life. And somehow, these scumbags involved in these sort of operations can't even manage to do that. The letter follows one that Guggenheim herself sent on August 1st, which was shown to ArtNet News expressing similar sentiments. Let me be clear. I completely sympathize with the pain that Maria and her family have gone through, Faux Guggenheim wrote. Victims of sexual assault suffer lifelong trauma. My heart goes out to Maria, her sister, and to all survivors. I am deeply sorry if the report has caused further pain. F the report, lady. You facilitating Maria's abuse at the hands of Epstein and Maxwell caused the pain, and you doubled down on it by your lies and your deceit. So, forgive me if I don't let up on the evisceration process that we're going through here, because I have to tell you, Eileen Faux Guggenheim, you are one of the biggest dirtbags in this whole entire story of facilitators. The board letter noted that the Academy plans to take several concrete steps to address the issues raised, including inviting the president of the Alumni Association of the New York Academy of Art to join the board and hosting special meetings that will be open to the broader community. It is also forming a communications committee comprised of board members, students, and administrative staff to facilitate ongoing dialogues to resolve any issues that may arise. So all these decades later, and all of this pressure put on you, and now you're willing to change? Now you're going to make things better for the students? Somehow, I have a hard time believing you. To address the culture surrounding donor-student relations, the letter adds that the administration has committed to prioritizing new strategies for fundraising in addition to special events. Here's an idea. Don't force your students to do anything, okay? Let them do whatever they want. If they want to sell their art to people who are involved with the academy, great. If they don't want to sell their art to them, then that's fine too. Forced compliance in any situation is unacceptable in my opinion. The changes are intended, the letter says, to bring more diversity and inclusion to the board and the school and to ensure students never feel as though they are required to interact with donors and always feel safe. Well, that's all fine and well going forward, but that doesn't help the students, specifically Maria Farmer, who were already stuck with lifetime full of horrible memories and abuse at the hands of people like Jeffrey Epstein. And instead of doing the right thing, when these allegations originally were brought to light, you attempted to shame Maria Farmer for daring to go against so-called polite society. And you calculated that that would be the end of it, that nobody would stand up to you and call you out or challenge you. Because that's what has happened for so long. Well, those days are over. There is nobody on this planet that is going to demean Maria Farmer at this point and not catch a hot one here on the Jeffrey Epstein Show. Maria has proven to be not only an absolutely ironclad, credible witness, but Maria is one of the nicest, sweetest, most loving people I have ever met. And the fact that these morons even put this letter out in the first place, attempting to shame her, tells us all we need to know about them. Canned apologies or not. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All right, folks, the links that pertain to this episode, you know where they're at, inside of that description box. I'll be back later on, and we'll do it all over again.
Need an extra hand with dinner? Just ask your connected home device to fill your pasta pot, and Delta Faucet Voice IQ technology will fill it with the perfect amount of water. Visit deltafaucet.com/voiceIQ to discover more. Slack is a new way to communicate with your team. Messaging that's faster, better organized, and more secure. Conversations happen in channels that are easy to create, join, and search. Try it for free at slack.com. Slack, where work happens.